This photo should tell you everything you need to know, but so much detail surrounding what occurred yesterday. You see, the Washington witch hunters just made yet another monumental error. They targeted Kash Patel with a bogus perjury accusation. But of course, instead of crumbling, Kash unloads on them with both barrels, exposing the sham and torching the narrative. But that wasn't it. The man that I have now nicknamed the Iceman, Scott Bessent, walked into a Democrat-dominated hearing and refused to utter the words President Biden, and the left lost it, as you see in the photo. What do you get when killers won't play pretend, because these men are stone-cold killers of the Democrats' narrative, and they're not going to stand down. You get meltdown-level panic from the people who have the most to lose, and that leads into the final chapter in this story of why they're pushing against Ed Martin so strong. Do you understand why? Oh, I'm going to get into that and so much more in today's video.
For decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency, because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination, as the Constitution has said.
Okay, I'm going to just stop there. So because everything's been absolute crap, we should just leave everything the way it is. You see, that's the way Democrats want it right now. They want everything the way it was because they're entering into very dangerous waters here. Because it's taking a while. Let's be honest here. It's taking a while for the FBI to react to many things, but there's a reason for that. And the Democrats are terrified. The deep state dog's barking all the time. And they've always kept Kash Patel, Scott Bessent, and President Trump in their sights. So you're going to go into a perjury claim here in just a minute, which is absolutely ludicrous, because all it is politically motivated hit jobs. But they get instantly obliterated by Patel's sharp, fact-laced rebuttal. But it doesn't end here. Here, you see Scott Bessent. Cool as ice, sharp as a scalpel. And I'm going to play just 2 or 3 clips for you of this. Because Trump's nominations, his picks, aren't backing down anymore. These aren't gaffes. They're signals. The administration isn't playing defense. It's moving into complete offense, into positioning for checkmate. Because you have to understand the strategic sabotage of Ed Martin's nomination. I'm going to go on that in this full-length version when we kick this over to Restricted Republic later, because Ed Martin has always been the focus, right? But not before all this happened. I'm going to let this continue on.
And not trying to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me ask this question. Maybe I missed it. Who was the president? And who has been the president since January 20th, 2025?
Donald J. Trump.
Okay. And who was the president in 2024?
One believes President Biden.
One believes?
One believes President Biden. I still can't believe this moment that Bessent did that. He absolutely has ice in his veins, but he sets him off, doesn't he? It's not the only set off that you have, because you have these representatives who believe that they're more powerful than they are. These who have led us astray for years now suddenly want to chastise the administration. In displays like this, when they're asking things, now we're going to move on to another clip here. Night of Lesquez who believes she actually understands trade policy. And Scott Bessent doesn't put up with it.
I would like for the witness to be sworn in before I ask my questions.
The chair doesn't see a need for that. You may ask your question. Your time can start the gentlewoman's time over at 5 minutes.
She tried to gotcha there. I want him sworn in. I want everything on record. But the only one who was put on record was her for a ludicrous question.
Secretary Bessent, you were on CNBC earlier this week making claims saying we are very close and maybe we will see some deals this week on tariffs. So tell us, tell the American people, tell small businesses and consumers, tell retirees, specifically which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No, I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why will that be detrimental?
Because as the negotiations may still be in process as we speak.
Pretty simple answer, right? Because while negotiating, the worst thing to do is to be answering that question in the middle of negotiations. And mind you, just announced Trump and the UK have came to a trade deal. So they were in the middle of negotiations. And this Democrat out of New York should learn her place in line. So Bessent, within not even 12 hours, is confirmed 100% accurate. You can't talk about negotiations in the middle of negotiations, no matter what the Congress decides they want to do. But again, just the tip of the iceberg here in the stories today. Because Kash Patel in this clip gave to Trump impeachment manager Madeleine Dean exactly what she deserved. These guys were just stone cold killers yesterday. Killing the agenda that the Democrats have tried to force feed Americans for so long, and it's about damn time. Hope you love what I'm doing here. If you do, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. If you're new here, welcome home. Place for very black and white news, just facts, and I let you decide what storylines should be moving forward, because there's so much occurring around us right now. Those of you who have joined as members here on this platform, thank you so very much. It keeps the lights and cameras on. The super thanks are so beneficial. And for those of you who joined our family at restrictedrepublic.com, you now know why we created a news platform just for you. We own it. We run it. We're beholden to no one. You won't see advertisers, you won't see commercials, and you won't see interruptions. And you have your own dashboard to cancel anytime, because I know that the news that Lisa Haven and I provide you daily will keep you on that platform to provide you with the background, the information, and the knowledge you need to understand what's happening. Exclusive content like this video that I'm going to extend on to full length to really cover why they're fighting against Ed Martin so hard. You have to understand why. And it involves Crossfire Hurricane, it involves Kash Patel, and it involves all, well, those who may find their names on an indictment shortly. And that's the story we're going to continue on with right now, because we can't just leave it without going to what Kash Patel just did. I just want you to listen here, because this is one of the most epic, as I get this stage for you, replies. And Madeleine Dean got exactly what she deserved out of this.
I was an impeachment manager for President Trump's second impeachment. It was a sad, solemn duty. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Mr. Patel, as you and the President continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you
may
want to know
need
what I'm doing
write
to
a book
fix it?
about that. Let me move on.
Well, you should
Change
read the
topics.
book because there's no enemies
So-
list on that book.
So
there are
you-
people that violate.
I'm going to stop there real quick because that book is critical because it's something he wrote in that book that tells you why Ed Martin's being contested. You had to read that book to understand it, just like he said. Maybe you should read it because if they did, they'd be educated how to fight back against Patel. Because when killers stay cold, liars melt down. Patel's fury wasn't rage and it's not going to be rage. It's surgical justice before you hear it. Bessent's silence spoke louder than any oath. The dead, cold stare he gives, and they can't take it.
Their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people,
That's good. You
and they
gave
were
them due
rightly
process.
called out.
I'm
And
changing
you should
topics.
give that book to every one of your constituents so they can read about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6 insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers, and whom you referred to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times. 8 times. And you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing
Veracity.
perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually put the
all right,
facts
then
forward
the answer is
instead of
both.
lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second
answer
donation hit.
OMG. That was absolute brilliance. And it's about damn time we start standing up for ourselves, just like Patel did there. You have the audacity to actually put the facts forward. You need to have the audacity to provide facts and not sound bites so your donations chirp up for a little while. Holy crap, I was so excited when I heard that because we need to hear more of that. These people, they're done. The gloves are off. They're finished. The administration is going to lose its mind. And this Kash Patel is waiting for something very specific. And he hasn't been given it yet. But they want to hang their hats on things that were so important in this country, like the Gaza pier, which we now find out 60 service members were injured. 60, I think it was, 60 total. That pier cost $230 million. It lasted 20 days because that's success. Because you want control of everything again. Because you did such a bang-up job, didn't you? Of course, this was your leader-in-chief.
I don't think it's been forgotten by the people. I think it's been forgotten by the leadership a little bit. Excuse my cough. The fact is...
Still hacking in his first interview back. The White House savages him in a minute here, but there was a more important clip within this. There's a few moments that I want you to listen into, like this one here.
President Trump is now saying, look, if you want peace, Ukraine is going to have to give up some territory. Some people think that is common sense to say that. Do you think it's not common sense? It's perhaps modern day appeasement?
It is modern day appeasement.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. In the middle of negotiations, once again, interrupt with your lack of any cohesiveness or even state of mind. And if you needed any further proof that he probably shouldn't be speaking anymore, listen here.
What did you make of those scenes in the Oval Office? President Trump and President Zelensky?
Literally, that's how long it takes him to process a thought. It's irrelevant what he says. Completely irrelevant. He's just trashing Trump. We'd expect nothing else. White House. Stephen Chung comes out, assistant to the president and White House director of communications. Joe Biden is a complete disgrace to the country and the office he occupied. He has clearly lost all mental faculties, and his handlers thought it'd be a good idea for him to do an interview and incoherently mumble his way through every answer while we're in the middle of some of the most tense negotiations this country's ever seen. Sadly, as he states, this feels like abuse. But the administration is done. This lawsuit about Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, the court requires formal briefing of defendants' invocations of privilege, principally the state secrets and deliberative process. So what does Bondi and the DOJ come back out? The executive branch hereby notifies the court that no further information will be provided in response to the court's March 18, 2025 minute order based on the state secrets privilege, and concurrently filed declarations of the state Secretary of State and Secretary of Homeland Security. I told you when I get excited, I trip over my words, so excuse me. But this was just a monumental moment in the administration yesterday. I am overjoyed to see what they did. They're done. They're finished. They're aggravated. I have the same tendency. When I get to a certain point, I'm very, very patient. Until you just push me that one step further. And then my patience erodes. This is the case about the president's plenary authority derived from Article 2 and the mandate of the electorate, the mandate for change that we gave President Donald J. Trump, and reinforced by long-standing statute, to remove from the homeland designated terrorists participating in state-sponsored invasion of the predatory incursion into United States. So in other words, court, Fangu. And they deserve it. He is trying to protect our nation, and they are trying to erode our nation. So what say you? Was that all justified or unjustified? Simple question. Justified or unjustified? What Patel and Bessent did. What the DOJ did. This is what happens when truth goes head-on into tyranny. Kash Patel won't back down. Scott Bessent won't bow. Trump won't capitulate. And the administration isn't just defending the White House anymore. It's cleaning house. Watch closely. Deep State just blinked. They gave away their cards. And America's first bulldozer, the America First bulldozer, is rolling right through them. But why? Is I'm going to kick this into a whole different level now. No, not about her. I'm actually going to remove. I was going to cover her, but I don't like giving her any coverage. I'm just going to shut it down. Because it's old news. This is new news. This frames in everything. Ed Martin's nomination is running out of time because they want it to, because Kash Patel told you why they want to completely disrupt this ban. Because all these cases that are occurring need him. Kash Patel needs him. And I'll explain that full story as we go even further into this podcast. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Whatever you want to call it. I hate titles like that. And if you do, get over to Restricted Republic. Now, if you're already at Restricted Republic, you're just going to continue on in this video because I'm going to do the full-length version of this podcast. But out of respect to everyone's time, I wanted to make sure I gave you the headline stories first, as I always do. And now we're going to kick into the detail that truly may change your mind as to when you say the FBI is rolling too slow. I sometimes state that also. But be careful. There's a reason. Because they need an enforcer. That story I'll bring you here in just 1 minute. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.